Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bailey and the Fake Podcast. Bailey and the Fake Podcast. And welcome back to episode 2. Episode 1 was 100% a pilot, and I didn't even think I could talk to myself that long. So, it takes a real talent to be able to talk to a camera for an hour, which I am working on. Okay, so I wanted to open up this week's podcast with a discussion on media and the influence of media on a generation. I want you guys to picture yourself. You just got off the bus. You're hustling home. You open the door. You throw your backpack on the ground. Get yourself a little snack. I know for some of y'all with the almond moms, that consisted of a handful of chocolate chips. What was it? Ingredient families? Raise your hand if you were an ingredient family. Yeah, nah, I never was from an ingredient family. I was the house where all of my friends who had almond moms and ingredient families, it was their oasis. I was that kid. You want Oreos? Got them. Chips Ahoy? Got them. Name a chip? We got them. Name a little snack? It's in the pantry. I pity you all, but you did not have to unlearn overeating and an addiction to junk food. So maybe you did. I don't know. Maybe it came later in life. If there's a will, there's a way. If there's a snake, there's a snack. Anyway, oh my God. Sorry. Picture yourself. You grab your snack. For me, what was my snack? You know what I was really addicted to? I was addicted to, they were like a form of Dunkaroos. And you know how you could, they came in a package. There was a little pot of cheese, artificial cheese whiz, and then little breadsticks like this big. And then you would dip them in the cheese and you would eat them, and they came in like a little package. Man, I loved those. But not just those. They made Oreo ones. So the Oreo ones where the sticks were the Oreo cookie, but the little pot of whatever was the cream. So you would dunk the Oreo. Oh my God. I would guzzle those down. Anyway, snack in hand, face in front of television. Honestly, we as a generation were blessed. We were blessed with the holy grail, the peak of cartoons. Just the golden era of Cartoon Network. Even just our kids shows. The Disney shows were better. Everything was better. I mean, it really was the age of kids television. It's on a decline now. So we were truly raised on some iconic media. Not just iconic media, but I personally think some line crossing shows. They really pushed the edge because you had shows like on Boomerang, shout out, that were like Tom and Jerry, the Flintstones, Wacky Races, all those type of cartoons. And they all kind of had this very cyclical type of storytelling, which was essentially no true character development. Each episode was its own, start to finish plot, which often was the same thing every time. You had one evil guy and he tries to fuck up the main character. It doesn't work, and then repeat. Even Scooby-Doo, I think, would have that pattern. They pushed it a little bit because the characters were good. I would say the characters were still pretty kind of iconic. So that made them stand apart. But as we moved into the late 90s and early 2000s, there was a shift. I think somewhere along the drugs and people paying attention to anime, there was a change that happened. And once we got past like some of the truly scary ones, like Courage and, the cartoons that you were a kid and you watch them and something in your stomach, you were just like, this is not right. Like Mr. Meaty. And there were just some cartoons that you're like watching a car accident. It's low-key traumatizing, but it's so bewildering that you just can't stop watching. But you have this sinking feeling in your gut that you know this is going to probably be a lifelong scar on the developmental part of your brain. I don't know. I feel like one that I really loved. See, for some people that was Courage. Courage, that was not for me. I think mine, that was like, this is like really weird and I don't want to watch, but I do want to watch, was definitely Invader Zim. I think that was mine that I was like, this is great. I think this is great. Okay, but I got a little sidetracked. There were some really weird ones in the 90s. Hold on. I have to look it up. Oh, exactly. Real Monsters, scarring. Just something about it. Even Cat Dog. No, thank you. Obviously, Courage the Cowardly Dog. There was just an ick. And I'm not talking like ick, like a visceral dread kind of ick. Rocko's Modern Life. Some form of ick there. I'm sorry. Not Johnny Bravo. I love Johnny Bravo. Oh, the Angry Beavers. Blech. I don't know. There's just something weird. I just don't know how to explain it, but something was off. Anyway. Back to the Boomerang shows. Those kind of lacked any form of substance. The cartoons started to get weird and unpredictable. Worst of all, they started having something to say, which is a big 180 from all the cartoons before that. Other than like obviously more adult cartoons that existed, like the MTV cartoons, like Daria, those obviously had something to say. But I'm talking about like Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon kind of cartoons for children. And we, the kids, were listening. Yes, we were. We were absorbing all that messaging. Our ears, our eyes, we were locked in. SpongeBob, I think, is a great example of one of these cartoons that started to push the boundaries of what cartoons could do. On the outside, it's just a fun little cartoon about some fun little characters living a fun little life. Until you start to dig a little bit deeper. I think SpongeBob is more so a commentary on our society. It starts touching on some heavier themes. This isn't just no little underwater sponge Squidward hoorah. What? Sponge Squidward hoorah. No. This is about capitalism. This is about mental illness. This is about consumerism, image obsession, etc. Like, these are just some of the themes that this show would dive into. Most of the people, I mean, haven't you guys even heard that, isn't there like a SpongeBob theory that each of the characters represent one of the 7 deadly sins? So Mr. Krabs is greed, Plankton is envy, Squidward, wrath, anger, SpongeBob, I think people said were lust. Patrick is sloth because he's lazy. That makes a lot of sense. What do we have left? We have pride. Ugh, who's pride? They say Sandy's pride and Gary's gluttony. I mean, I don't know, but that's one of the fan theories. Who knows? And it could make sense. But also, the show didn't stray away from introducing children to themes and art styles of surrealism and absurdism. Like, do you guys remember the episode where Squidward is locked in the freezer? I'm just saying. I had no idea what was happening. Don't get me wrong. I was a kid and I was like on a trip and I didn't fully understand what I was absorbing, but I liked it. I knew I liked it. Even if kids aren't, at a point where they can fully appreciate or understand something, it can be
a gateway. Be careful of the gateways.
No, but it can open them up to exploring things that interest them and set them up for a potential path or a potential connection that they can make. It's great because many of these cartoons saw kids as being humans with brains, with the ability to learn and to appreciate. Kids take in so much more information than I think we give them credit for. They are little geniuses. I think sometimes we should treat them like that. We shouldn't water things down. Obviously, there's some things that we should water down for them. But like in the sense of these cartoons, they didn't stray away from making characters and episodes with depth and with real life lessons. And I'm so happy that the SpongeBob creators didn't shy away from making meaningful media just because it was for kids. They saw being able to make this cartoon as an opportunity to actually speak to us. I think we lucked out. For me, the show that really stood out and really perfected this, even a step further than SpongeBob. SpongeBob will always be iconic, and they really did master their storytelling in their own specific way. But the show that I think impacted me the most and opened up my brain the most as a child was absolutely Avatar: The Last Airbender. And we're not talking the movie, and we are not talking the Netflix adaptation. All right? I mean, that show has had a lasting impact on my worldview, and has been able to meet me at every stage of life that I have lived. It met me and what I was going through emotionally and personally as a child, as a teenager, and as a young adult. I think that is a true mark of a great piece of media. No matter how old you get, you find something else that continues to speak to you as your mind expands and grows and as you've walked the world more. So I think Avatar has really nailed that. Even if you start watching this show as an adult, there is something great to appreciate about it. If you want to talk about adult themes and commentary about the world we're living in, Avatar. It is getting scarily spot on some of the parallels that I just recently watched it again. So I am just like, wow, that seems a little too relatable for a show that is set post-genocide and a rising tyrannical government. Anyway, it's really crazy. Like, what didn't Avatar touch on? Genocide, tyrannical governments, propaganda, sexism, trauma and abuse, manipulation, mental illness, the loss of innocence, environmentalism, philosophy, extremists, pacifists, different cultures, war refugees. Sorry, my brain is just going through everything. I mean, not only is the story and the world building so incredibly in depth, the magic system rooted in lots of our own reality, like different martial arts styles, and how we also can interact with elements in nature. But anyway, I could talk about this show for hours. I love this show. But also the characters had such depth and full arcs, and they set it up so well. Each of these characters' struggles, I think, is something someone can absolutely relate to. Your responsibilities and finding your own way, dealing with sexism, dealing with the loss of a parent, figuring out masculinity, femininity, you're having a disability. I mean, all these things were covered and were so relatable to these kids that are watching it. And it's like, you know what? That is me. I don't know if this is my destiny or if this is something that's forced upon me from my parents. You know, I'm tired of being treated like I'm a helpless person because of this thing that I have. You know, it's just, I'm sure the influence those characters had on a generation were at the littlest inspiring and at the most life-changing. Not to mention, they have so many themes of war and government propaganda.
There is no war in Ba Sing Se.
There's no war in Ba Sing Se.
What are you talking about? Where do you think all the refugees come from?
There is no war within the walls. Here we are safe. Here we are free.
Say psych right now. I can't help thinking that shows like Avatar have really set us up to view the world with a critical eye. I feel that the shows that kids are watching and internalizing have just been so watered down. I mean, don't get me started on some of those. I know y'all saw some of that, the Chris Pine his villain song in whatever movie that was, Wish.
Now don't even charge you rent.
Don't get me started on the Wish Chris Pine villain song. Don't get me started on the remakes. It's exhausting. The original Willy Wonka was so... We didn't know if Willy Wonka was out here straight up murking kids. Where'd they go? Were they here or were they not? There's a whole sequence in the middle of the movie that was like an nightmare.
And they're certainly not showing any signs that they are slowing.
Acid trip, like nightmare blunt rotation vibes. If anybody saw, look, I'm sorry, but I hated the new Wonka. It had no new story to be told or new lesson to be learned. It didn't feel rooted in any form of reality where someone would leave and be like, wow, I think they're trying to say something. Yeah, because they weren't. I mean, that's the point, I guess. They weren't. They tried to say just enough to have conflict in the movie, but not enough to make you uncomfortable with your life. But that's either here nor there. I think the fucking Disney Marvel monopoly that they have on media, it's just getting so oversaturated and boring. It's giving nothing. It's literally giving nothing. It's giving nothing, and not in a Dua Lipa way. And I do think that our media literacy will be taking a hit if it hasn't already, which I do think it's started. The news and our media, it's making us stupid and it's making us scared. And it's making us divided, and it is exactly what the government wants. However, I do believe that a lot of us who were exposed to media that had us question society and created stories that reflected real human experiences and real human emotions, I just think that something in us is bubbling up. Something is happening. The pieces that have been laid are starting to form a picture. I know we have a lot of issues, all right? This generation has a lot of issues, but we're waking up. Now is the time to start using our minds and our voices, because the stability in our society might as well depend on it. If we don't start now, we gotta start now. Fool me once, can't fool again. Sorry. You don't start now, you gotta start now. There you go. The best time to invest was 30 years ago. And I know it's hard. I know we just want to doom scroll. I know we have trauma. I know social media has fucked us up. I know these things, okay? I too just want to turn my fucking brain off and fade into the background. I know it's hard, and I know that feels good. But we as a generation have a unique set of skills and have been well positioned in time for a purpose. Not to sound, it's the age of Aquarius.
And we are the chosen people. Lisan al-Gaib.
I said we see the multiple realities. 9/11, COVID, the Great Recession, but in it, there is a way, a golden path that needs to be followed. Okay, I'm sorry. I have literally been obsessing over Dune, and did I watch it again last night in IMAX, and was I the very front row so I could take an edible and go like for like 3 hours? Yeah, I did that. So Lisan al-Gaib. That's us, guys. When I get too high, and then I just think our generation is the chosen generation to start a holy war to end late stage capitalism. Okay, but I do. Okay, but for real though, guys. No, but for real. You don't hear what I'm saying, okay? I do think we have been given a very advantageous point of view. Okay, and when I say advantageous, not in the sense where it's like, okay, I know neither of us will either probably be able to afford a house in the future. That's not the type of advantageous. Okay, there's boomer advantageous, and then there's Gen Z advantageous. That's all I'm saying. But no, I do think we were given a set of tools that has propped us up to... There is a war in Ba Sing Se. There is a war in Ba Sing Se. Okay? As much as social media is a curse and has hurt us, we're not the only ones to be affected by it. But we are the ones that know how to see through the bullshit. Unfortunately, the generation below us is too young to see yet. And the generation above us is too old to really understand and recognize the internet. If you held up a photo in front of Congress and told them that the security of the nuclear launch codes depended on whether or not they could identify if that was an AI image or if it was real, we're done. We are obliterated. I'm just saying. Right now, we, I think, have the best understanding of the state of our world, what has happened, and potentially what is to come. We have been given the gift of recognition and empathy and understanding. I know we're young. I know we have a lot to learn and we have a lot to listen to, but our eyes have seen. Bro, the government thought they were smooth sailing before the internet. They thought they had us under wrap. I'm not going to lie. They had control over the media, fear-mongering, making us scared of each other, buying guns, locking our doors, dividing us as a community, not allowing us to see each other as equals. And that's the best thing for a government to be able to have. People that are scared of each other and don't see each other as humans. Bingo! Swish! The government was like, yeah, they're scared of each other and they're stupid. Social media, it's fucked, but it is one of our biggest tools right now, okay? It is allowing our voices to be heard at the very corners of the world. And it's real. We are real people with real voices, seeing and hearing real things that are happening, and it's really scaring the shit out of our government. We are finding a new connection once again. That is the very reason for this stupid TikTok ban that is happening. Minus the shitload of money Congress will make out of investing into Meta if it does get banned. So, obviously, money and control. Who knew that was the root? Wow. Should have seen that one coming. We once again are connecting as a society, and we are seeing each other as equals, and we are listening, and we are learning, and we are getting on the same fucking page. I have not seen the government move so fucking fast in my entire life. They were getting their walking sticks and their rockers, pulling up to Capitol Hill like it is early bird brunch, okay? It's the reason these senile senators are getting up from their bingo boards and actually doing something for once in their life, because it's slipping. Like sand. Lisan al-Gaib. No, I'm so sorry. It's slipping, and they can feel it slipping, and it's scaring them, okay? This isn't about China. This isn't about our privacy.
Attempt to make TikTok better. Tic-tac-toe, a winner.
Tic-tac-toe. Term limits, okay? Tic-tac-toe. To the home. I'm sorry. It's about the spread of information, and it's about money, okay? I guess for this episode, I just want to end with, please keep having conversations.
Like, can we talk about like the political and economic state of the world right now?
Even with people you don't agree with. Talk to your parents. Talk to people in real life, real time. Make your voice heard and start to connect together once again. Because believe it or not, at the end of the day, cutting through all of the bullshit media, there is a silent majority. And I believe we are more on the same page than we think we are. There are less divisions truly than we think. Okay? And this is coming from someone who can't even have sex because of what religion did to me. Okay? So if I can be having these types of conversations, so can you. I really didn't mean for this episode to get so political, but I guess that's just kind of the state of where we're at. I know everyone is feeling it, and I don't think that feeling's gonna go away, honestly. Not to be all, we are the generation of change. Not to be like that, but to be like that. I won't lie. Maybe we are the Lisan al-Gaib, okay? I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just saying, look, hey, I don't know. You know, take what I say with a grain of salt, okay? Like, look, maybe I am just being straight up delusional, okay? But hey, if my delusions are inspiring y'all, then, well, don't feed into that because... Okay, sorry. Anyway, we're tired. We're fed up. We're done having the short end of the shtick. The shtick. We're done being the butt of the joke, okay? The joke has gone on for long enough. We're good. We got it. Can we go home now? Can we buy a home now? So I just, look, it sucks not being able to plan your future. It sucks not even knowing what the future for us looks like. And I think if we all get on the same page, we can do something about it. Raise your Red Bulls, your coffee cups, your weed or your pills, whatever gets you through the day. And let's start this conversation. Anyway, I'm Bailey Krozik. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. And I hope this did not absolutely bore you to death. Have a wonderful day and have a wonderful night. Goodbye.